Hello, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm decorating a beautiful red velvet cake, and I'm calling this Christy's red velvet cake. Christy is someone that's worked with my husband for over 20 years. We just love her. She is family to us, and her red velvet cake is the best I've ever had. She wrote the recipe out for me, and you can check out my red velvet cake video, and it will show you step by step on how to make the best red velvet cake you'll ever have. Now, I'm about to decorate this, and I'm making this for a party, so I want it to be extra special. Now, I've made my red velvet cake in 3 layers, and I've made 6-inch layers because I want it to have a little bit more height on it. I think it's so pretty. It's still the same size cake, but it's just a little higher and just makes a beautiful presentation. At least that's the hope. Now I'm frosting this first layer, and I've already cut the tops off of my cakes. I've placed the crumb side on the bottom, and I'm ready for my next layer. As I said, I've just cut the top, and I'm putting crumb side down because I want these layers nice and flat. Here we go with the next bit of frosting. Now here we go with the last layer, and oh y'all, this is going to be beautiful. And you see that? I'm going to fix that. You will never know that that's there. Now I'm just going to place a little bit more on the top, not a whole lot. And by the way, I will let you know that this is a double batch of frosting. Whenever I'm making decorative cakes, I always make a double batch because you're going to use a little bit more frosting just for the piping and other things. And also, I keep the tops of these cakes and I save them for Jimmy. And of course, I always put a little frosting on there. Now, I'm going to set this aside, and I want this to be what they call a naked cake. So basically what that means is I want the layers to show. I want the frosting to show, and then I want the layers to show, just a little bit of both. And I'm going to pipe just a little bit more of this frosting around. I learned a few things when I used to cook professionally. I was never a professional baker, but I loved to watch the bakers. And it does take just a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, you get it. And it stays with you. And the more you do it, the more confident you become. Okay, now I've got a flat edge scraper, is what they're called, I believe. And I am going to just go over the top and get off the excess frosting. Just get this layer nice and flat, and try to cover this little bit here that I probably should have put on the bottom, but like I said, it will be just fine. Oh, yes. Now, I'm going to take off the excess. This is something you need to do regularly. Just wipe that off. And doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want to drag that extra frosting around. Now, I'm going to take my edger, or whatever this thing's called, and I'm going to just turn my cake platter. And as I go, I'm going to take off this excess just to keep it clean. Now I want to make sure that this is pretty even, and I can tell that we have quite a divot here. So guess what we're going to do? We're just going to put a little more frosting on there and just wipe that on very gently. Always a gentle but firm hand. And now I'm going to go around the top. And just going to pipe in little bits. Like for instance, this here, I'm just going to give this a little bit more right there. You know, those little accidents that we aren't supposed to know that's there. Now I'm just going to daub basically a little bit of frosting here and there. You don't want to go around completely. You just want to give it just some here, just some there, just kind of randomly. Back with our scraper, and this time I'm not cleaning it. All right. I've pretty much got the amount of frosting that I want on the cake. Now we're not finished yet, not by any stretch of the imagination. I've got the Leaning Tower of Pisa there just a little bit. Now we're ready for the next step. I've got my pecans, and these are from Shute Pecan Company right here in Dothan. If you know about Shute Pecan Company, you know they are the best pecan and nut company in the Wiregrass. I think they're the best in the world, and by the way, they ship all over the world. So make sure you check out their website. I'm going to go ahead and start piping just some decorative places around the top. Now I have my piping bag. If you don't have a piping bag, you can use a Ziploc bag. I can't tell you how many times I've used a Ziploc bag for this, and you certainly don't have to use the piping tool. You can just snip off the end of the bag and it works perfectly. I'm just going to put a few of these right on top. The frosting's getting just a little bit warm because of my hand. I'm going to show this over here just a little bit more love since it was not quite level. And here we go, just a few at the bottom. Boy, that's leaning pretty good, isn't it? Let's create an optical illusion and a little bit more frosting. Little bit better. Now for the pecans. Just going to sprinkle these. I love these pecans from Shute Pecan Company. They're just perfect. The size is just perfect. They're the little chipped pecans or chopped, I don't know. But they're smaller than pieces, and they're the perfect finishing touch for this red velvet cake. And I'm going to put these all on the sides. Now, for the finishing touch. Now, as you see, a lot of decorative cakes have things on them that you're not going to eat. For instance, your candles on a birthday cake, or maybe you've got some, I don't know what's on there, a football. So I am adding a few things that we're going to have to take off when we slice this. But for the party and just for a beautiful centerpiece, I want this to say Christmas. Now I have some fresh rosemary. I'm just going to take a few of these pieces and I'm going to break them. Rosemary is so readily available, especially this time of the year. And I love to buy the plants and just let them grow because you can find just the best deals, but unfortunately they're all shaped like Christmas trees, so they don't have much rosemary on them. So I did go ahead and buy just these little individual packages. I'm going to take this and just put around the top. Now I also have some fresh cranberries. Let's see, I think I will do 3. Doesn't that look pretty? And I'm just going to keep going around. This is a little thick, so I'm going to thin that out just a little bit. Put that right in. It already looks like Christmas, doesn't it? And you see where I'm going with this. I'm just going to do a repeat with each one, and look. I love simple little tips like this. It just makes life so much easier. And there we go. Now I'm going to add just a little bit more on the bottom, and I'm not as concerned about the thicker pieces. Well, yes, I am. I'm just going to take these branches and just separate them and put them all along the bottom. I don't want these big woody pieces in there. And lay one this way. Just kind of keep going like this, if that makes sense. That way you're not going in one direction. You want to create interest. There you go. Now, I don't want too many cranberries. I just want them here and there. I don't want to overdo. The thing about making something really pretty is just not doing too much. There's a fine line between too much and just right. Y'all, this is looking beautiful. Now, the next thing is just that simple finishing touch, and it's powdered sugar. And I just want lightly, just a little bit, and let it snow. Y'all, I think this is pretty cute, if I say so myself. You have got to try this recipe and try your hand at decorating. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. You see, I've got a tiny bit of a lopsided cake, but it's still beautiful and it's different. It's not expensive to make. This in a specialty shop would probably cost you at least $50. And I might have 10 in this cake at the most. And that's buying this fresh rosemary and my fresh cranberries. But y'all, doesn't this look like Christmas? Make sure you check out Christy's Red Velvet Cake. And you are a blessing to me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll like this video and share this with your friends. And make sure you're following me at Kathy's Southern Kitchen on Facebook and YouTube. I wish I could cut into this beautiful cake, but these tops over here will just have to do for now. I'll see you next time.